The Prince of Persia series is held near and dear in the hearts of many. Whether you fell in love with the original platformers and their revolutionary rotoscope animation, the Sands of Time for its rewind mechanic and magical atmosphere, or maybe even the reboot from 2008, which I quite liked a lot. And yeah, I'm still sad it ended on a cliffhanger. Now, the franchise is back with quite a few fun twists in Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Not only did Ubisoft invite us out to their office to get some hands-on time with the Switch version of the game, they also gave us the chance to pick the brain of Joseph-Antoine Clavet, the cinematic director on this new Prince of Persia. So obviously, I made the most of this opportunity.
So I wanted to ask personally, is Godsmack going to be making an appearance? Will they be having any tracks in this game?
Godsmack's not going to have any track in this game.
Cool.
Joseph shared with us some insight into what it's like working as a cinematic director, revealed some of the team's anime inspirations for this new adventure, and why the story and the new protagonist, Sargon's journey, is something Joseph is most excited for people to experience.
I'm Joseph-Antoine Clavet. I was cinematic director on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I was in charge of the cinematic team in Montpellier. And also I helped in some of the dialogue and story structure in some parts of the game.
Personally, when I think of like somebody who works in cinematics, I think of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9's cutscenes and things like that. What does your day-to-day look like? Like, what do you, when you're working on the game?
To go through the scripts with the team to see, are we telling the right story at the right story beats? And then from having the scripts, we're gonna break down into storyboards. When we like the storyboards created by the team, we're gonna go ahead and move to the animatics. So we're gonna animate those storyboards to see, is the flow right? Do we have the right editing? This game, what was particular is that we decided to go with a hybrid format between some mocap and some keyframe. So we wanted to have the weight and the natural animation that mocap can provide, but mocap has this limitation when you want to have something snappy that feels like shonen anime and have this really huge and big sense of energy and power. So we did a hybrid. So I was also in charge of preparing the mocap, shooting, directing the actors, and then bringing that back to my team and start assembling it to see the results that you saw in the build today. We use mainly the mocap for everything that might be a bit harder sometimes to keyframe with some weight, like some runs, some walks, some natural moment where characters are talking and you want a subtlety of like human motion. Always knowing that in this mocap we will take some of the key poses and then exaggerate them or put a focus on them. Everything that was more action-oriented, we will shoot in mocap in terms of having a blocking, understanding what would be the action, but then most of it was reworked in keyframe to get the snappiness and the sense of elasticity or the illusion of force you might see in shonen anime in these over-the-top grand moment.
How early into the production did you get pulled in? Were you there from the beginning?
So in terms of cinematics, we always arrive a bit later because the game has to have its first breath before we actually start putting cinematics into them. So the game started the development in 2020 and I arrived mid-2021 when we started having enough material to start building cinematics from. And it was a process of collaboration, iteration, discussion to find what was the right tone for the story you wanted to tell, because cinematics, to my opinion, need to serve a purpose that is either driving the story, being a reward for the player, a foreshadowing a big event or a big moment, and sometimes it just can be something that closes a certain act or a certain moment of the story. So I arrived in mid-2021, and since then I've been on the project up to this moment.
Do you know if there's anything in particular that really inspires maybe the team, but also just like you in particular? Like, is there a favorite anime that you watched growing up or even in recent years that's really kind of helped create this vision for this game?
It was many different type of references because depending on what you're doing, you want to find the right references. Probably we're from the same generation. I grew up watching Dragon Ball
so.
every 6 o'clock every morning. That was Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I was also a big fan of A Sword of a Stranger, which was an influence that we put at different places in some of the cinematics. Ninja Scroll, also for me, not in the tone, because this is a tone that is a bit heavier, Berserk. Berserk for me is a masterpiece in terms of manga. It's a manga that like I love having the full series of the Dark Horse, and so it's not the tone we're looking for, but certain message that there is through this story. So there was so many anime. Some of the team it was more Naruto. Some of the team it was more Demon Slayer. So it was more the sense of the style, how everything is larger than life in anime, how you feel overpowered, and this elasticity in the animation, the musicality of animation. And when I say musicality, that was always something that Munir, the game director, will always get back to. Sometimes he could explain something it wanted with sounds, and it worked. Like right away it clicks, ba-dam, ba-dam, boom, bam, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. We're gonna go in this direction. So the musicality of it. So it was multiple animes that all influence us differently, and by sharing a lot of references. Have you seen this scene? Have you seen this shot? Have you seen this pose from the character? And just feeding from each other. And I think this is what creates beautiful collaborative art, where people all have their different references and you find what links them together. Something we might not know, but like France is a huge consumer of mangas and anime. Okay. Huge. This is kind of really part of their culture in terms of animation. A big part of the team grew up on anime, and this is something that is interesting from French culture, because like even I come from Montreal, and every anime that we will see when we're kids were dubbed in France, and it was not yet really in the States or like in Anglophone countries. It was there, but like more niche.
It's been, I think I wrote down, it's been 14 years since like a traditional like Prince of Persia has been released. How does it feel to be part of the crew that's steering the ship for a new generation of fans to see Prince of Persia? A new generation of people are gonna come around, and this is gonna be, you know, we know this isn't the prince, but this is gonna be their Prince of Persia.
It's a pretty big deal. I mean, it's an honor. Like, I grew up on those games. And when I mean I grew up on those games, I grew up from like the Jordan Mechner games. You know, so for me,
cool.
Even when people are like, oh, steering or like having new sales for the game, I'm like, this is the perfect game for it. Like from where it came from in this platformer format, going to the 3D format. Even the 3D ones have different tones, different way of telling their story. So it was just the perfect brand to bring Persian folklore forward and do it in a way that it's not really bridge, but bridges between the platforming and these beautiful, grandiose location like we have in the most recent title. So it's an honor. Like when you grow up on certain type of content, and then when you become like an adult and you're able to just craft in this content, it feels like you're part of a myth that just keep growing and growing.
While I was playing the game, there was an interesting question that was posed to the main character Sargon, and I actually overheard Joseph talking with one of his colleagues about this, and I'm so thankful that I even remembered to ask him.
The warrior's journey is never ending, and at the end of his journey, the warrior wonders, what is at the end of my blade? It's a question that will have a different answer depending on the people. Like your journey, like my journey, like everybody's journey. Something that was really important for Munir and Jacques, and Munir which is the game director, and Jacques, which is the narrative director, was the warrior's journey. Like the journey of Miyamoto Musashi, for example. We wanted something that had these really martial questions that are more philosophical and don't have a precise answer, but that drive you to wonder what type of warrior you will be. So for example, when we'll discuss it with the team, what is at the end of your blade? You know, some people it will be my enemy, some people might be the blood of my enemy, some other people might be my own reflection, but some people might tell you like, maybe this is me, because the end of the blade might be the end all. So it's a question that doesn't have one answer, just like the warrior's journey, like everybody's journey. And this is the journey we wanted to give to Sargon. As you saw, he starts really like, he's out there, he's proud of his skills, but what does it mean to be strong? Does it mean only muscle? Does it mean only swords? Or does it mean to learn kindness? Does it mean to learn poetry? Does it mean to be bigger than only a man with sword? And so this sentence is just the opening of what will be Sargon's journey. What will be his coming of age story? What will he become through his journey? And will he be the same man than at the beginning? Will he be only a gifted swordman, or more than that? So this is what it means. It's a non-answered question, and that has a meaning different for everyone. Another question was like, what does it mean to be strong? What does it mean? You know, like you could be the strongest in a room with your muscle, but if this is not the situation, you cannot go through your life punching everything, you know? And this is what we wanted for Sargon. We wanted something that was more than only a guy using sword. What will he become through the journey?
So to close things out, I was curious if the team at Ubisoft Montpellier had plans, or hopes and dreams even, of revisiting the Prince of Persia series again after the Lost Crown releases. And Joseph had something really inspirational to share on that note.
I don't know if you tried the challenge from Artaban.
Oh, no. Was that one of the side quests?
It's not, you could consider it a side quest, but we have Artaban in the hub, you know, where you have like Fariba and Keiva, and he says a sentence that I think is great. It's like, practice doesn't make perfect, perfect practice makes perfect, which is true. Like, you have to dedicate your full attention to something to create something that you're proud of. And right now, this is what we're doing. We're putting all the energy at crafting something we're really proud of, that it's the type of game that we like to play, and this is all the attention we have right now for that.
From everything I've seen and played so far, you can tell that those words are honest. So if you've been excited to see the return of the Prince of Persia series for a long time like me, I genuinely can't wait for you to get your hands on this game. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown launches on January 18th on Nintendo Switch and a whole host of other platforms. It's going to be hard to find something else to distract myself with until January 18th, but it's a good problem to have. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you again to Joseph for taking the time to chat with me, and to Ubisoft for having us out to the studio. And if you haven't checked it out already, we'll have links in the description down below to a nearly 12-minute video full of Nintendo Switch gameplay of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and a full hands-on preview session as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time.
I think that's part of why I am so excited to like keep playing the game, is because it just narratively it's so much more like exciting than like a Metroid game as well, which is, I think I was telling you earlier, like I'm
really happy you say that, because a narrative-driven structure was really important for Jacques, Abdelak, Mounir, like the full team. Having a Metroidvania that is more, and I love Metroidvania, but a lot of them is like a little bit of story, a main path, and this is pretty much it. It's pretty much like hack and slash, go like around and kill stuff. But we wanted something that we had a character you can connect with. And this is something that's been part of Ubisoft. Like, Ubisoft is really strong in storytelling, and we wanted to keep that in this new, fresh version of the game.